Hello, welcome. My name is Caesaboo, and I usually am just your average person who loves Pokemon and loves to suffer by opening up Pokemon cards on my channel, and usually pulling absolutely nothing most of the time. One day, while I was watching some pretty popular Nuzlocke videos, I decided that maybe it was my time to dip my toe into a different type of suffering. I wanted to do my first Nuzlocke challenge thingy. I think that's what you guys call it, but here's the thing, I've never really done a Nuzlocke before, and honestly, I really just don't know where to begin. That's when I had the idea to do a different type of challenge, but not really do a Nuzlocke. My copy of Brilliant Diamond has been collecting dust since the release, and if we're being honest here, I never beat it. So I told myself that the only way I was going to be able to do that is if I make myself do it by challenging myself. But how exactly? That's when I thought of something. I love evolutions, everybody loves evolutions, so why not try completing the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond game with evolutions? See, yeah, creative. Except, we're only using Glaceon and Leafeon, because for some reason, I really like pain and suffering, and I just wanted it to be even more challenging than it already is. I can see it now. Cynthia just beating my butt. Oh no. Anyway, welcome to the story on how I beat Brilliant Diamond, using only Glaceon and Leafeon. Or maybe I didn't. You're just gonna have to watch the video to find out. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by absolutely no one, just me. So if you want to help out the channel, be sure to subscribe and like the video. Also comment on what game you think that should be my first real Nuzlocke, and we'll do a video and a stream about it. Thanks again for your support, and let's get started. So, in order to do this challenge, I'm gonna kinda need a Leafeon and a Glaceon, right? Now, if you know me, you know that I'm absolutely obsessed with shiny hunting and shinies. You know I wasn't gonna do this challenge without shinies. So, I've actually had 2 shiny Eevees waiting for something like this. Problem is, they're trapped in my copy of Soul Silver. And if you know anything about transferring Pokemon, you know it's gonna be a long journey. So, we did it. We transferred from Soul Silver and moved them to Platinum because you can only get them in Sinnoh. We then traveled to their respective areas and evolved the Eevees because there's no way I'm playing Brilliant Diamond with a Leafeon for most of the game and Glaceon just at the end. We opened up Pokemon Transporter on another DS and moved them to Pokemon White. After that, I had to put them in a copy of Y, and then after playing 2 unnecessarily long mini-games and messing up twice, probably more than that, I put them in my copy of Y and then moved to the bank. And then last but not least, we got them into home. All reasonably done within 2 to 3 hours. Get all that? Good. Yeah, good luck to anyone who needs to transfer older Mons into the newer games. It's an absolute mess. Now, what are my 2 partners in crime's names? Everyone meet Tundra, the Glaceon, and Meadow, the Leafeon. What makes these 2 special is that they're also been cooking with Pokemon around them and that they have Pokerus, meaning that they're going to get a little bit extra strong really quick. This will be a problem later on, you'll learn. And now that introductions are out of the way, we can officially start. Well, no. First, we've got to choose our name, and we got to name our rival. You know, I never looked at Barry as an actual berry, and back in my original playthrough, I named him Terry, so let's go with Perry. So, after watching a strangely familiar documentary about a shiny Gyarados running rampant in a lake somewhere, we decide to go ahead and visit our good friend Perry. So, I guess our adventure hasn't really begun yet because we gotta pick up a starter that's going to immediately be boxed after the first battle. Piplup. Simply because it means that our unlucky friend is going to be stuck with a grass-type starter, which is weak to one of our partners. We beat up some birds, and Lucas is not very happy about us going through the professor's things. Maybe there's some hidden lore or something about Typhlosion or Octillery or something he didn't want us to see. I don't know. And he takes off in a hurry. Before heading back to Rowan takes interest in my starters, Glaceon and Leafeon. He leaves in a hurry, stating that Perry and I should come and visit him. We pay him a visit, and he decides to gift us our shiny starters. Isn't he so nice? Why hasn't any other professor ever done that? I think that every starter should be shiny. Always. Right? You know I'm right. After talking to Rowan, we now have the ability to use the PC, so we race over and to home and grab Tundra and Meadow and leave poor little Piplup in the PC void forever, where we will never see her again. Now we've got the team. Once we go back and visit our mom and tell her we're off to experience true suffering in the Pokemon world, our adventure finally begins. And it looks like everyone is excited to see me suffer too. Oh, before I forget, remember how I said we were doing a Nuzlocke but not really? Well, here are the rules of my playthrough that I decided to create. No other Pokemon than Glaceon and Leafeon, obviously. And because we're going to have a little bit of problems later, I'm only allowed to heal once with items in the battle. No other items can be used besides the held items, and I do get to heal after every battle, which is nice. And once again, this is going to be terrible later, and you'll find out why. This is going to be so much fun. Okay, so off to the first gym. Along the way, we take on our first battles, and I'm trying to be careful not to go past level 10, because if that happens before the first gym, let's just say we're gonna have a bad time. You all read the title. You know what's gonna happen. We make it to Jubilife Village, city, and hunt down Perry by giving him his parasol. Parasol? I don't know. Does anyone even say that anymore? We're also rewarded a map because we're so nice to Perry. He decides to attack us before we leave the city. We literally tackle his Starly and Turtwig to death and make our way to Oreburgh City. Oh, and I almost forgot, we did pick up this nifty Pokétech while we were in Jubilife, just to make things a little easier. After picking up Rock Smash and sneaking past a few trainers, we finally make it to Oreburgh City. Alright, let's take on the first gym leader, and he's not here. Great. Since we did pick up Rock Smash, I decide that I need to teach it to Tundra and Meadow, just because Meadow might not do well against the Rock-type gym. And then we make our way into the mines and finally pull him out and drag him back to the gym. Little did I know, this was going to be one of the worst experiences in the first gym I would ever have. And it's all thanks to this stupid little boulder.
It's just a stupid boulder!
It's not just a boulder! It's a rock! A rock!
Huh?
Roark kept buffing and healing Geodude non-stop, and Meadow could only Rock Smash so many times. Hit, buff, heal, repeat. But Roark didn't know that he was dealing with Meadow. Meadow manages to hang on, and thanks to a boost in experience during the battle, we safely level to level 10 and push through Onix and Carnados. Carnados? I think I said that one right too. And we did it! We got our first badge. Now, you're probably wondering, if Meadow and Tundra come from another trainer technically, how are they behaving after completing the first gym challenge? Well, not well at all. Tundra and Meadow began to conspire against me and ignore my orders altogether. That means I was sneaking past trainers and trying not to engage in battles, and there were just some trainers that I couldn't avoid, like this first double battle of the game. Those two were just not listening to me, and it really sucked. It made me feel like a bad trainer. After what seemed like forever and landing a ton of quick attacks, we make it to the edge of Floroma Town and find Bullet Seed for Meadow, which would actually become really helpful. Team Galactic is up to no good, and everything is going somewhat good until we reach Mars. She wipes the floor with me and her beefy Purugly, but after throwing some sand in her eyes and almost losing to her Zubat thanks to U-turn, we actually defeat her. The nightmare continues until we reach Eterna Forest, and we are finally saved by Egg and Cheryl. I use this opportunity to get Glaceon to level 20 and learn Ice Shard, to make the next gym battle a little easier since it's me versus the gym leader and Leafeon and Glaceon. But it was everything but easy. Gardenia. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever struggled this hard before in my entire life in a gym battle, especially a grass gym. It wasn't the fact that she was grass, it was only the second gym. It was Tundra and Meadow had completely stopped listening to me. It took me 4 hours to beat her. My strategy wasn't based on skill with this battle, but it was sheer luck. I kept spamming Ice Shard, hoping that Tundra would listen, and 3 out of the 4 times, Tundra usually didn't listen to me at all. But somehow, what felt like our 20th battle, he had finally started listening, and almost every turn he had hit, and we finally were able to defeat her team. The last battle I had won was only because of a game of chance and luck. Things were starting to get hard. How could I possibly keep Meadow and Tundra under level 30 before the next gym? Panic starts to set in. Was this run going to be over this soon? Already? No, I couldn't give up. I needed to complete this challenge. I wanted to win this. After Gardenia, we made our way to the Team Galactic building to retrieve the bike guy. We quickly climbed their headquarters, beat up a few grunts, and because Meadow and Tundra are actually starting to listen, we have a decent fight with Jupiter. Her skunk tank has flamethrower, which... a skunk? Flames? What? Anyway, he gave us a little bit of trouble, but with Leafeon's leech seed, we chipped its health away and got ourselves a bike. On to the next town. Along the way, I came up with an over-leveled solution to have one of the Pokemon be knocked out so at least one of the Pokemon could handle the next gym at the Hearthome City. Dodging trainers was pretty tricky considering how fast you have to travel down Route 209 with your bike, but we made it through. We also encountered some guy with blue spiky hair in Mount Cornet. Something time and space, yeah, you just must be a Sonic fan. After what seems forever, we make it to the Hearthome City and Fantina greets us at the Super Contest Hall. I decided to take a break and do a couple of contests. It was actually pretty relaxing, and for some reason, my mom is there too. Okay, definitely don't know how you got here so fast, but whatever. I also pull Piplup out of the void for just a quick second and visit Amity Square, so that Meadow and Tundra can finally walk with me. Yay! Perry also pops in and out of nowhere, and we decide to take him on and beat him up. We have to come back to fight Fantina, so it's off to Veilstone City. We stop in Eggville, Glaceon Town, where everyone is obsessed with eggs. By this point, Meadow and Tundra are getting pretty close to level 30, and we still got a long way to go until Veilstone, so I'm starting to get nervous again. But I buy a ton of repels and sneak past trainers, sneakier than the Nintendo ninjas, and we finally make it to the city. So you're probably expecting Maylene to be sort of a problem for me, right? Actually, no. It was thanks to a very special move that I taught Meadow. Attract. Meadow is a female, and it really gave her an advantage against most of her opponents. Maylene's Lucario wasn't able to attack for most of the battle, and because we're still under level 40, we were able to completely destroy it. That puts us 3 badges in our pocket, and now it's on to the next problem, Team Galactic. I'm beginning to get nervous again because Meadow and Tundra aren't very impressed by my 3 badges. They want more, and they're starting to kind of not listen to me again. To ease my mind, I go on and check in the clothing store and change my style, and we head off to help a whining Lucas with his stolen Pokédex by Team Galactic. I beat up some bullies, which, once again, this game starts to become a challenge because Meadow and Tundra are finally, once again, fully not listening. But thanks to Lucas, we're able to push through the fight. Pastoria Gym. I'm worried. Yeah, we have Meadow and Tundra, but they hate me. And honestly, I'm really worried about Wake's Gyarados. It's a water flying type, which means that Meadow's grass attacks and Tundra's ice attacks aren't gonna cut it. It, once again, is going to be a game of luck until I can impress the two and win another gym badge, and they start listening to me again. And yet, somehow, Wake's gym took less time than Gardenia's gym. With Meadow's Grass Knot and Magical Leaf moves combined with Leech Seed, draining their health, and Attract keeping them from attacking every turn, Wake gets all washed up, and we've got ourselves another gym badge. Meadow and Tundra are finally impressed again and start listening to me, but for how long? Well, actually, they would start listening up to level 50, which is wonderful. Usually your Pokemon team is level 50 or 60-ish at the Elite Four. Tundra and Meadow were only level 33 and 34. Maybe it was finally time for them to start fully listening to me, or maybe they would turn on me at any minute. Who knows? Pushing those thoughts in the back of my mind, I head back to Hearthome and get ready to take on Fantina, without once again overleveling Tundra and Meadow. I realized that we could also use Fly to help out, so I head back to Pokemon Home and I grab my trusty shiny Staraptor to teach it Fly, so that we can get around much easier and quicker than before. We backtrack to Hearthome and then I realize Fantina still isn't there. So we make our way to Celestic Town, but we're blocked by a bunch of Psyduck. Great, what a headache. See what I did there again? Yeah, no, well... Anyway, we backtrack again and battle a grunt in Pastoria City. He drops some stuff, but we still can't go back because Perry is technically and secretly Team Galactic's secret ally, and he keeps us from getting the grunt at first, but we get the item, and we basically cause the Psyduck to scatter. After battling intense fog and some trainers, we arrive to the town, and Cynthia's charm is returned to her grandmother. We knock around a Team Galactic grunt again, and we finally meet Sonic's #1 fan again, who finally introduces himself as Cyrus. Alright, so it's Fantina time. Before the battle, I prep Tundra and give him the move Shadow Ball with a spooky plate to boost the move, along with teaching him Hail, and it does even more damage to her Pokemon. We've been running around like crazy trying to play basically hide and seek with her, but we're finally ready for battle, and she is too. Spamming Shadow Ball and being cloaked in Hail becomes very effective for us, and we take out her Drifloon, Gengar, and Miss Magius with ease. In fact, the only problem that we had was the math in the beginning, but little does she know we have a working calculator on our wrist, and that's another. Cynthia is waiting outside for us, and she directs us to another city called Canalave City. We might find some forbidden lore here. Hopefully not. But before that, Perry gets in our way, and again, we have to stomp him down. Things have finally started to get a little easier since Tundra and Meadow are listening to me. For once, I finally feel qualified to be called a trainer. Roark's dad, Byron, is waiting for us at the top of the gym. We take him on and set up Hail to help with Tundra's Snow Cloak ability. Bronzor doesn't stand a chance once we pull out another Shadow Ball, and Steelix doesn't do well in the Hail and gets hit with Shadow Ball too. And it's Bastiodon that becomes the problem. He continues tanking the hits and buffing his defense. At one point, he also covers my Hail damage with a Sandstorm. But we set up Hail right back up and we tank a Steel Cannon attack. After a few turns, we finish him off, and once again, we've got another badge in our pocket. Perry cuts us off as we leave the gym, and we have a meeting with Rowan and Lucas. Just as I think Rowan is about to reveal and confess to some Game Freak's biggest secrets, an earthquake happens. We rush over to the lakes and take on Saturn. He has somehow bombed Lake Valor, leaving all the Magikarp flopping around and baking in the sun. They look so lifeless and helpless. After beating up Saturn, Lucas really needs our help at Lake Verity. Mars is waiting for us, and I've been waiting to seek revenge on her and her Perugly. And we stomp her cat, and then Rowan instructs us to climb up to Snow Point City and rescue Perry, the traitor. Unfortunately, I have to save him in order to complete this challenge, so I get switched up into some warmer clothes, and up the stupid mountain we go. But first, the tower. We need to get the Strength TM, and now we start climbing. This is probably the longest route to a town in the game, but also has the best music of any route in any main series line, period. Tundra was once again able to take the spotlight with this area. Freeze dry and being cloaked in Hail made things very easy. Ignoring Perry for a sec, we make it to Snow Point City and decide that it's time to win another gym badge with Tundra by our side. Poor Meadow is definitely going to have to sit this one out, but she'll be cheering us on, and her friend Tundra from the sidelines. We sweep through Candice's team with Freeze Dry, none of them standing a chance, and with what we have, just one more gym badge to go. I can't believe that things are actually going well for the team, and soon we won't have to worry about Tundra and Meadow disobeying me anymore. Perry is at Lake Acuity, who is getting the absolute snot beat out of him by Team Galactic, in particular, Jupiter. He cries and whines and runs away, and it's off to Veilstone, and to the Galactic HQ to take them on, head on. We run around the entire headquarters and beat up some grunts. Tundra continues to take the lead with Freeze Dry. At the top of the building, Mr. Boss Man of the Sonic fandom is waiting for us, and we beat him up. His team isn't too bad. The only one in particular that gave me trouble was Sneasel because it takes Ice-type moves pretty well. He retreats to go play King of the Mountain at the top of Mount Coronet, and I race to free the Lake Guardians from Saturn, aka Sonic Jr. Why does everyone in Team Galactic have blue hair? Saturn's team also isn't too bad. We slam through his team with Kadabra and Toxicroak. They go down pretty fast. Once again, Freeze Dry being the best move. We knock out Saturn before Poison can become a problem to the team, and we finally free the Lake Guardians and make our way to Mount Coronet. Well, it all comes down to this. After what seems like forever, we reach the top of the mountain. Tundra and Meadow slay through Galactic Runts, and Jupiter and Mars try to stop us. Perry finally stops being a whiny baby traitor, and we take him on. Skunktank and Perugly together are a little rough, especially on Perry's team. The only thing I'm worried about is Skunktank's flamethrower, but after it's knocked out, it's smooth sailing. Cyrus takes charge, and once again, the only problem I have is that dang Weavile, because of the good coverage it has against Meadow and Tundra, but we chip away its health using Dig, and down it goes. After Cyrus is defeated, he cries in a corner and leaves, and we chuck a Master Ball at Dialga because this game isn't about catching the legendary right now, and I don't have time to watch the God of Time stomp my ice and grass cats. Finally, the last gym is in sight. The route to Sunnyshore's City is pretty small and we pick up a few things along the way. Before we can get into the city, the King of Nightmares stops us, Flint. Oh boy, little did I know he was going to be a huge nightmare. I pushed the thought of his fire team to the back of my mind and hunt down Crybaby Volkner, who is at the lighthouse. We complete the last gym challenge and take him on. Meadow and her Leaf Blade attack is actually the MVP of this fight. We used the Attract move and Leech Seed strat once again, and it works really well. I knew that Meadow being a female would definitely come in handy. Tundra also gets a little action by helping Volkner's Raichu. Volkner is defeated, and we officially don't have to worry about Meadow or Tundra hating us anymore. The nightmare is officially over, and a new one is about to begin. It's off to take on the Elite Four and the champion of Sinnoh. With Meadow and Tundra listening, Victory Road becomes a breeze. There was maybe one trainer that gave me trouble, but yeah, like I said, Leaf Blade and Freeze Dry were holding up really well, and before I knew it, we had finally reached the Pokemon League. We step in and get ready for the battles of our lives, and Perry stops us, so we kick him and beat him up worse than Jupiter ever did. I gotta say though, that Rapidash was a little tough, and I'll feel that fire attack a little bit later. Staraptor, Torterra, and Heracross all go down with a couple of freeze-dry attacks, and Meadow takes on Snorlax by herself with Attract and Leech Seed, chipping away at her health, slowly and slowly. It goes down hard, and Perry is beaten. He runs off crying, and I walk away smiling. We never see him again. The end. Just kidding. It's time for the Elite Four, but now it's time for the real challenge. Will it be like Gardenia? Will I lose over and over again? No, I finally had Meadow and Tundra by my side fully. We could do this. Our bond was so much stronger now. I just had to have faith in them. Aaron is up first, and he has possibly the toughest bug-type team I've ever experienced. Although it was risky, I sent out Meadow first to use Aerial Ace before I could pull off a Light Screen. It does, however, poison Meadow, but our bond cures the poison. For most of the battle, it's Aerial Ace spam, but when Vespiquen comes out, I know it's Tundra's turn. We use Hail to cloak ourselves and charge with a Freeze Dry. I use one of my heals after a powerful attack, and Heracross has an unlucky battle with him and even gets frozen. Drapion is his last Pokemon, and Freeze Dry wraps up the first battle. Bertha and her powerful Ground-type Pokemon are next. She was honestly the easiest of the Elite Four. Meadow with Leech Seed and Leaf Blade cuts through her Pokemon pretty quickly. Out of all the Pokemon that gave me trouble, it was Hippowdon. It knew Ice Fang and almost knocked out Meadow, but the battle was over quickly as it started. So, it's time for the King of Nightmares. Flint was tough. Rapidash was the first to go out, and Meadow uses Attract to stall for pulling off a Leech Seed and an Aerial Ace combination. It works, but then Lopunny comes out. Lopunny's main ability was Attract, so it became an Attract battle between Meadow and Lopunny. To make things worse, Rapidash had poisoned Meadow, so we were dealing with that too. When Steelix is sent out, we switch to Tundra, and it's because of Spooky Plate and Shadow Ball, it goes down in one shot. But it's time for an Infernape. Meadow is sent out, and we use Attract and Leech Seed once more and hope that it's not able to pull off a move. It's super close, but with Leech Seed, our one heal and an Aerial Ace attack, we take down Flint. Lucian is the last Elite Four member, and he wasn't as hard as Flint was. Tundra takes the lead this time because of Shadow Ball and Freeze Dry. We pull off getting a few Pokemon frozen too. Giraffrig is the problem child of the battle with Light Screen and Trick Room. I have to use my one heal on Meadow, and I use the Attract and Leech Seed trick to chip away at its health. Lucian keeps healing, so it's a matter of if it can pull off a move to hit me or if it can handle Leech Seed. But it's no match for Meadow, and it goes down. Alakazam and Bronzong are taken out very quickly by Shadow Ball, and that's it for Lucian. Now it's time for the final battle. We've finally done it. Cynthia was waiting. I knew this battle was going to be tough, but it was a lot tougher than I expected. Spiritomb is out first, and thanks to Tundra, it goes down with Shadow Ball. But the first major problem comes when her Lucario is sent out. I switch to Meadow and begin my usual stalling strategy, Leech Seed and Attract. Aura Sphere almost KOs Meadow, but with Aerial Ace, Lucario is the one that gets KO'd. Roserade doesn't stand a chance against Tundra, being that he is an Ice type, of course, and Freeze Dry takes out Melodic too. The final battle of this challenge is a Garchomp. We get a Leech Seed off, and I try to switch to Tundra, but it's KO'd very quickly by Earthquake. I'm super nervous. Meadow is barely hanging on. I use my one heal, and somehow, none of you are going to believe it unless I had caught it on camera, Meadow hangs on by 1 HP. Our strong bond had pulled through. I watch as Garchomp takes on the Leech Seed and falls. We did it. The challenge is over. Tundra, Meadow, and I are Sinnoh's newest champions. So what can I say about this challenge? It was tough. I've never tried playing a Pokemon game where the Pokemon disobeyed you at first, and you can only heal one time during the battle. This challenge has really made me want to take on a real Nuzlocke, and I can't wait to start. I'll always remember Meadow and Tundra and the journey we had together. Although it was rough, and it had a really rough start, our strong bond got us through, and look at us now. We really won. We really did it. Thank you all so much for watching the video. This was my first long-form video like this, and it was super fun to make, and I really enjoyed making it too. So much. I know I usually am a card channel, but I really want to make these type of videos every once in a while. If you want to support me, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If we can get 100 likes on the video, I know that you all will have enjoyed this content, and I'll start another challenge or do an official Nuzlocke. So leave a comment on what you think I should do next, or what you thought about the video. But that's it for me, Tundra, and Meadow's adventure. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. Until then, peace out. Bye.